All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to DreamHack Stockholm. This is the Invitational. It's the Counter-Strike Global Offensive Tournament, and we are about to get into the Grand Finals. It's a French-on-French Grand Finals as well. Titan versus LDLC. But joining me at the desk, we're about to get into this match, Anders and Thorin.
Thorin, do you like to do some French-on-French action?
Yeah, this is the question.
Oh, of course. I mean, I know that Nip and Fnatic don't because I heard like the two Hummers, I could hear them fire up in the background and they drove away. And then I saw like a DreamHack employee like tearfully throwing like a video cassette in the dustbin, like all that marketing budget gone to waste.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Oh, well, man, no mercy.
That's how it turned out. But we were talking about before we went to this lengthy break here that we actually do have a pretty cool storyline between the two teams here.
Yeah, we do.
As sort of the top of the French rivalry, and we thought it was going to be the top Swedish rivalry. So it's turned out different.
No, in some ways, I think this is actually a better rivalry because of the fact that it's so fresh when this team split apart, when Titan turned into these two teams we have now. And I actually think when it split up, there was people on both sides who were like, oh, I think this one will be better for this reason. No, I like this setup better. And the teams themselves obviously thought identically the same way. Mm-hmm. And also there's even an interesting, cool backstory to it, which is something I didn't know actually till Semler told me from hearing an interview. When I initially saw the move, okay, like NBK is joining up with Shox and he's going to make his own team, it sounds like, oh, what happened is they left and they were like, well, we're done with Titan, that doesn't work. But actually, it was actually all stemmed from Titan making the move. They wanted to bring different players in from LDLC, make their team much better. So what's interesting is if it turns out LDLC is the better team, then actually maybe Titan made the wrong move. And and obviously then NBK would be like vindicated for leaving. Mm-hmm. If it turns out the other way, say Titan wins, then NBK might be like, oh, I could have been in that team. Like I could have been the third guy. Like there's actually so many different threads going on in this story.
Yeah, that's the big thing here.
You cover a range of different esports titles. Can you think of many examples where sort of two teams switch rosters or at least take from each other and both seem to come out at a pretty high level? It feels like to me the natural progression would be one being much better and the other one being sort of the leftovers. So I actually legitimately think there's nobody out of these 10 people that have a feeling that they got like the short straw in this draw.
No, I think every single player actually, if you were to actually sit down and poll them all, they probably both think that I made the right move, like this is all worked out.
Yeah.
It has in a way because both made the final, whereas I wouldn't have known that either team would make the final actually before this tournament. There was such strong teams coming in. No, I think in general, that's the whole thing. I actually once made this case before that. I think every great team, their moment of greatness usually comes because of a big roster move in some way, whether it's one key player or just splitting a whole team up and getting a new roster together. And so it is very unusual that you would ever get the team, for example, where the best players left could be as good again. That almost never happens. Usually, I mean, think of any sport. If the star player leaves that team, and only the non-stars are left, they aren't as good as him when he goes to his new amazing team, or they flop completely and they get a new star in. Mm-hmm. The idea that both would somehow become better and in such different ways is what I think makes it interesting.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, this is the thing. There's so much. The other question that we're going to have to look at here, something that's going to be very viable, is the emotions, the role that emotions are going to play in this game, and are the players going to be able to eliminate those? Because no matter what kind of Zen answer we get, or just the smack talk answer, basically, from both sides of the field, it's basically like, okay, did we make this right decision? And when you're going into a match like this, I almost feel like any of these teams would have performed better versus anybody else, except that now they run into each other here. So who's going to come out on top with so much to prove between both of them, basically, who made that right choice? There's so much on the line here, just as far as bragging rights between compatriots.
Yeah. Actually, I much prefer the smack talking reply. By the way,
you like the NBK reply?
Well, yeah, or the Devil Walk reply. We're number one team. The fact that it turned out not to be true at this tournament, anyway,
it makes it funnier.
Yeah, it makes it even better actually. So I prefer the pointed replies like that.
No, it definitely shows us a bit more of what the teams are coming into this with, because that's also something that sometimes there's a bit of criticism, basically saying that players don't actually voice what they're thinking. But it seems like in this case, at least. Well, MBK put himself out there, and he's just like, this is what's happening. This is what's on the table for us. And we saw a little bit of that in the group stage as well. Titan and LDLC, they faced in the group stage so that LDLC could get out first in the group over them. And in that match, LDLC played well, but there did seem to be some tension in the lineup as far as, playing aggressively, making the right calls. When it came down to closing the match, it was definitely harder than maybe it should have been versus any other team.
Yeah. I mean, the performance we saw from Titan against Fnatic seemed...
incredible.
Oh, yeah, really incredible, right? But at the same time, it must be hard for Titan to transfer that level onto a completely new opponent, right? Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, LDLC are going to play differently from the way Fnatic play.
What I think makes this so fun is that usually my favorite matchups, okay, the matchups we've seen a million times, I used to love it when Nip used to play Very games because of the history, like what happened on this map last time and what they'll try. Each will be trying to like figure out a different way to adapt to the other. So in theory, there shouldn't be any of that this team. 2 brand new lineups, never played in a LAN before. But the fact that each half of the team literally played with the other half and against the other half means that there's like all these extra little layers built in that we just haven't got to see yet. Like what happens when Existence calls strats against a team that has like NBK setups as CT? For all we know, maybe one of them reads the other one completely. Maybe that guy's one step ahead of him and he lures them into a trap. Like there's all sorts of interesting things can happen.
There's something to consider as well, is that Happy, the brains in LDLC, the man who was making the shots, the shot calling at least, is on LDLC now still with the experience of NBK, of Shoxy, of Smiths. I mean, they've taken quite a bit of experience from Titan and they've put it with the brain that was basically beating Titan before this change came in. So in this match, it does seem like LDLC, they're going to have a real good idea of how to go about beating Titan. Hell, just looking at this match here versus Fnatic, they were just like, why didn't they flash Kaylee? Why didn't they smoke Kaylee? Why did they just run into his crosshair every time? And so it seems like LDLC at least are going to be a bit mentally prepared, or a bit more mentally prepared.
I mean, this is where, though, I make an obvious joke at the same time as real analysis.
Go ahead.
Because I say, well, if there's anyone who would know how to shut down a team even when Shoxy's going off, it's Existence. You know, he used to do it quite regularly.
All right. Yes. Yes.
So now he just has to transfer what he was doing to make them do it, you know.
I see how that works. We do have the maps, actually. So the Mirage, Cash, and Dust 2 in the mix here. So interesting maps. We're finally going to see Mirage, which is really cool. Cash seems to be just a popular map this tournament, which is actually not a bad thing.
No.
And then Dust 2 to settle. I mean, that's a good map to end with, because chances are you're going to get a pretty exciting match if it goes to a third map like that.
Well, okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this real quick, because we know now that Mirage, that was the map they actually faced on in the group to go through, and LDLC took that. So I want to ask Thor, what do you make of this so far, this result? Because they're already up 1-0 in a best of 1, LDLC.
Yeah, actually, I thought Mirage was the map because of that result, that actually Titan would try and stay away from. They'd just ban it out. I mean, maybe both teams agreed to just ban Cobble and Overpass. That's probably the most likely outcome. But I thought maybe you'd try and take that away. Like maybe we don't think we can win on that one. Whereas for sure, the teams were going to play Dust 2. They were going to play probably, I thought maybe Inferno, actually, because they're both good on Inferno. So it's interesting to me that actually we decided not to get an Inferno matchup here. So Mirage is obviously going to be crucial, because if Titan goes down on this, then there's the added factor of like, oh, we could have banned that. Like, you know, we already lost on it once. And then you add in like LDLC on Cash, had a pretty easy time with the Finns overall. So yeah, I think this is actually a pretty good map setup for LDLC.
Well, do we want to look at the face-up in the past as well? Because LDLC and Titan, they've played online versus each other on Cash, and it's always been very close results.
Yeah.
So we have plenty of experience.
And Titan won those, actually.
Titan won those, but you know, LDLC, they know what they did wrong in those sorts of situations as well. So going into a LAN setting, is that going to be enough to make the difference? If they get that strong start on Mirage and manage to repeat history basically throughout this tournament and win again on Mirage LDLC, are Titan going to be up to snuff to be able to stop them on Cash when there's already experience there for LDLC to draw off of?
I mean, we saw how effective KD was on Dust 2. We've seen Kenny play really well on Inferno against JW opening like that. One guy we haven't seen so much from, not that he's been underperforming, not even close, but Shoxy. There's the Shoxy factor, always worth considering. Do you think that can make a difference in a matchup like this? I mean, Shoxy's doing a lot of the calling now as well on the team, so he has additional sort of tasks he has to complete. But, I mean, Shoxy's kind of like a get right or Forest in this sense, that if he really does kick off, then he can probably decide the outcome of a match.
He's also got that thing going for him, like Get Right, actually, where you can never just trust the form of the tournament. Like, Get Right can have been having a terrible group stage, might have a bad quarterfinals, but you know if you get to a certain map and a certain round, then he can just win the game for you. And he can do it out of nowhere. Shoxy will always have that factor as well, I think. Even when he's not on his absolute peak form, you're always worried about that.
Yeah. Does it surprise you, Summer, that it's Shoxy doing the calling and not, let's say, Happy or maybe even MBK?
Not at all, actually, because Shoxy learned quite a bit from Epsilon. You know, we've talked about this and how it differs from this team to the team that he was on before at Gamescom. You know, Epsilon, they still got out of the groups and they got into the quarterfinals, but this was with Shoxy working with less experienced players. And so this is something we've mentioned several times now. You know, he felt like he wanted to be in their place, that he could just take over and play this position this way because he didn't necessarily see the experience there to make the right decision. This picture completely changes now that he's on LDLC, because he has 4 teammates, 3 of them with massive amount of experience, knowing what they need to do in each situation, and Kiyoshima, who's also a very smart and talented player. So he has total faith in his team right now. that takes so much pressure off of his shoulders. So I actually imagine that Shoxy, it's perfectly fine if he's middling, because he is the one making the calls right now with the help of MBK and Happy. But still, he's able to just count on his teammates, and because of that, he'll be able to make the right calls consistently, rather than just taking way too much on his shoulders and just trying to outthink everything and not counting on his team.
I mean, I think Shoxy's going to be more in the vein of an exist type leader, where he's still going to be flagging
Exactly.
himself. It's not going to be too much of a strain. If anything, if you think about why they made this LDLC team, it's because they don't agree with the philosophy of the existence style of the one mastermind who controls everyone. So actually, this isn't just a matchup of like different teammates. It's like people who have opposing philosophical styles on how the game should be played right now. They don't want to play that style. Existence does, and then let's see right now which matches up better. And
I mean, we've been talking about this, this mix of players in the context of global offensive. But if we go back to Counter-Strike Source, I mean, the Very Games roster involved some of the same players for a long time. And actually, I'm pretty sure at one point even they decided they'd never ever play with Shoxy again, because he kept sort of joining and leaving. And they actually, I mean, maybe not officially, but sort of internally in that team, they had enough of Shoxy. So that's fun as well, that they've now ended up, well, some of them playing with him and some of them against him in that sense.
All right, guys, well, it's now time to meet the two teams that we've been discussing for so long. I'm going to head up to the main stage now. I'm going to be very careful, looking closely. Maybe I should get my phone out to light my way. Let me see. We're going to do it like this. You know, I'm watching, I'm making sure, okay, I'm going to make it, guys. I'm going to do it. I promise. I swear. Look. Yeah! We did it! It took 2 maps, but I actually got up on this stage without falling. I'm very proud of myself right now. I know you guys can get behind me on this. All right, let's go ahead now and meet our two finalists here at DreamHack Stockholm. Both of them hailing from France. The first who have talked a bit of smack going into this, it is going to be LDLC. Now, it's a real pleasure to get to introduce these players. Once again, they have made it here to the grand finals, a fresh lineup, but already it is going to be the Offer Smiths, our first man here on the far left of the team. Now, Smith will he be able to handle Kenya's and Kaylee? That's the question. His compatriot here next to him, it is going to be the young gun, Kyoshima. Incredible aggression, very smart. This is scary. To his left, we have the mastermind behind it all, the man calling the It'll be so good to see. They have fought their way through the semifinals. LDLC came out first in their group, but their opponents, they're about to meet in a moment's time, took second and have battled their way through to this point. Let's go ahead and meet Titan. Now, Titan, they have shown that they are, what they are capable of. They have taken out the favorites to take the entire tournament here on their own home turf. Fnatic could do nothing versus them. The two offers, and this one right here went completely crazy on Dust 2. Kaylee completely shutting down a site, demolishing Fnatic time and time again. His teammate to his left, Apex, solid rifler, man everywhere, loves the boosts. He's always on the bottom. It's going to be the man behind everything here, Existence. The caller, the mastermind, the puppeteer. And to his left, we heard from him earlier in the post-match interview, but Maniac is here once again. And now, to finish it all, the best offer in the world, Kenny! Now let's go ahead and actually hear a word from both of these teams. If I could have NBK here. And we shall hear exactly how things are going to go. Once again, Maniac. Well, Maniac, he's trying up here now, but I'm going to go with NBK because you were here first, NBK, okay? So, going into this finals, tell me exactly what you're feeling right now.
I think it's just great to see both French teams that were in the same group stage at the very beginning of the tournament, ending up on a big stage and being in the final. So we were welcomed by a great video of Fnatic and NIP with big calls, "Welcome to Sweden," and here we are.
Should I just give you a knife so you can twist it in the crowd right now?
Well, I mean, when you make such a video, expect some feedback, and here we are. We're in the stage right now.
Do you feel the same way, Maniac? I mean, we had a word before, but honestly, this is such an amazing journey for you guys, just putting together the team, and here you are on the finals as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the burst scenario. We just created two different teams with different players, different strange, and here we are in the final. We've been playing really well for the whole tournament. I mean, even LDLC were impressive. And what could we expect better? We have to face our great enemy from France. It's really nice, and I hope for the people it's going to be a nice match to see as well.
As do we all, as do we all. Now, before we start, do you have anything you'd like to say to NBK and LDLC?
To NBK, you mean?
LDLC, both.
To LDLC, I hope we're going to put a good fight. Don't be too hard on us. It was really hard the first match. So, yeah, I hope it's going to be a little bit more difficult for them, that we can put up a great fight. But looking at the map, I think you potentially have a really nice match incoming. And we are really motivated, and we can't wait to play, really.
All right. And I'll give you a chance, NBK.
Well, as I said, it's going to be a great best of three. We're both young teams, so it's just going to be explosive, I guess. That's just two brand new game styles, and it's going to be fun.
All right, well, guys, I'm going to let you go ahead and grab your seats and get ready. Best of luck in this best of three. Very nicely done. Maniac, he actually gets such great team support. They're cheering for him as he goes back to sit down. So, let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get into this best of three because they weren't joking. Mirage, Cash, and Dust2 is perfection. But I'm going to make my slow way carefully back to the stage now. And let's go ahead and join up with Anders and Thor to go over what we just heard here with the players. So, this one, yeah. So, guys. What do you make of that? That was, Thor, I don't know, man. I put the leash back on during the break,
was it a bit harsh by
I'm
NBK?
hesitating.
NBK was the man after my own heart, obviously. He just I threw him the alley-oop with the video thing there, and he just 360 power slam, broke the backboard, and yeah, it's well done. It's the way you got to finish.
That's it right there, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, right now, already, we talked about the maps, we talked about these players.
I'll tell you one thing, though, Sembler, that I don't buy about that trash talk there. Well, it wasn't really trash talk, it was just talk.
No.
Right? It's this idea of it's just great that both our teams are here. I mean, one of us is going to win, and that's just a great thing. It's no, both teams really want to destroy the other team in this one. They don't just oh, well, it doesn't matter who wins. It's just a friendly game now, guys. They're super competitive to win, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, that's it, exactly. You hit it right there. They're hiding their game well in these interviews and everything, but it's definitely out there. They've both been very critical of each other, and this is going to be one hell of a match. There's so much riding on this right here. Top seed in France, essentially. Bragging rights for practically life. This is it. And we're about to see the knife to get to see who starts on which side of Mirage. Titan. It's going to be Kenny S, and he is going to get nailed. Shoxy will get the final frag, and it's going to be LDLC getting to pick where they want to stay.
It feels fitting that they have to start off knifing each other to get everything going. That seems like that's the right theme we have going on here. So yeah, welcome to the grand finals here in Globen, DreamHack Stockholm. That's where we're at.
So let's go ahead and find out who you here in Globen are rooting for. Let's make some noise for Titan. All right. That was good. That was good. And now,
Respectable.
Let's see. Who here is cheering for LDLC? Oh, there was a pretty big boo out there, too. Okay, then. I love it, man. This is great. We've got a practically full stadium here at Globen. It is sick to see the turnout, to watch some good CS on one of the biggest stages in the world right now. This is one of the biggest arenas in Sweden, and we have Counter-Strike front and center.
Yeah, it is looking really good. I love it, and I hope it's going to become a sort of a popular thing, keeping it back here to the Ericsson Globe, because it's it's a really, really sweet spot. And there's lots of room for expansion if, if we end up running out of seats, you can always put in more.
Yeah, we'll just tear down all of this stuff, open up these chairs up on the side, put up a TV. I mean, seriously though, this is so cool. And everybody's going to keep showing up here because now we're starting to get a bit into the evening and it's Friday night. It was a work day all day. People had school, all of that sort of stuff. But now that we're into the evening here, I expect this place to fill up and people are still streaming in. So this is going to be one sick final, Anders. This is everything we could have hoped for here. Just two great teams going at it, along with the story that comes with them.
Now, Semler, you're going to have to come up with a prediction here.
Ha!
Mirage,
I knew
Kaz, and Dust 2. Who's going to win?
I should have got it when Thorin was here too, so we could get Thorin's take on this. He'll have to come back afterwards. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna stick to it. Since these two teams were made, I've said LDLC, so I'm gonna say LDLC 2-1.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I'm gonna say LDLC 2-0 because if they win Mirage, I think they're gonna win Cash. So I'm actually gonna say LDLC 2-0.
You think they're going to? All right, 2-0. It's a really tough call at this point. It's hard not to be influenced by the performance that Titan had earlier. You've got to try and rid that out of your mind and say, are they going to do it again? I'm going to go with 2-1 LDLC. I think LDLC are going to take it here, but I think it's going to be 2-1. Titan, man, if they do what they did earlier, if they could do what they did to Fnatic, then who knows? It's already live, and LDLC trying to defend this bomb site, but a really aggressive push coming in here from Titan, and it's Apex who opens up here in the grand finals now. Kiyoshima goes down, and it's Apex with a quick double Maniac to help out. Kenny, headshot on Smiths, and well, Shoxy, he might be one of the best pistolers in the world, but it doesn't matter. Kaylee will shut him down, and there's no two ways about it. Titan just wrecked LDLC in that pistol.
That was a beatdown. And you thought for a second there was a moment where it was teetering on the edge, where NBK was managing to get back. He took a couple shots. He saw how many people were coming in, but he still managed to get back down electric and stay alive. And you're thinking, okay, maybe they can manage to back off of this and go for a retake. And then he just gets shot in the face. And then everybody gets shot in the face. And it just totally falls apart. Titan just continue to take rounds.
And now they're going to go for a really quick rush in towards the B bomb site here. Shoxy is ready and waiting and just getting some shots off. Bit of a shooting gallery here with the pistol. And actually they have a full stack going on in this bomb site. Titan are walking into a trap. LDLC with 2 kills, looking for more if they can. Shoxy is going to go down, and Smith's a little bit late to the party. He's going to get shot down. So Titan managed to recover. Now, this round was so quick, we couldn't even talk about the pistol round, but actually the reason why that worked for Titan is because you can tell that LDLC thought that that was going to be a standard pistol round where they would smoke off to a CT spawn and towards the connector, and then put the bomb down and try and fight, keep off the retake. In fact, Titan were just looking to keep pushing and getting kills.
Yep.
So LDLC were waiting for smokes to pop and waiting to defend, and that never happened. That scenario didn't play itself out. So, cool play by Titan.
It's sure. I mean, this is a change of pace that could catch LDLC completely off guard as well. Because Titan, we know them as the cool, slow-playing team that like to measure everything out and basically, it's like they're baking a cake. It's all about the recipe, right? Okay, we're going to take a peek here and a pinch of a shot there and whatnot. Beautiful cake. Except that now they're basically just slapping everything into the pan, throwing it in, and it still tastes good.
Yeah, it does.
Existence is an amazing chef. I mean, he's Belgian.
That's a good point. Kenny looking for an opening on somebody. He's going to pick up the 1 kill here, and so far Titan haven't lost anyone, so this is already a pretty good anti-eco they've got on their hand. Shoxy though, execution style on Kenny, and still a 1-on-4 here. So I think Titan overall have played these first 3 rounds just very respectively. Don't think Shoxy can really do much more here from this position. So I'm curious what LDLC are going to do in the upcoming round. And this is one of the things that Thorin brought up. How do you deal with having played on the same team as Existence and now you're playing against him? If you think you know what he's doing because you're used to being, under his control, and then you play into that, what if he's changed it? What if he feels like maybe that's exactly what you're going to do?
That's the point right here, is that this is not the Titan we're used to seeing. This is an ultra-aggressive Titan. This is a Titan that are basing everything on Kenny, and they're saying, okay, Kenny, if you get a frag, we're right behind you. We're not waiting, we're just going to speed up. Instead of slowing down and playing it out the way that Titan usually do, the way that Existence usually plays it, they've completely changed up their game. So now it's a question of whether LDLC can adapt or not. Are they going to be able to change it up and be able to play passively and just hold angles and basically force Titan to just come hunting for frags? If Titan are basing their whole game on entries, that's what has to happen here.
Now look, this is the round that LDLC thought was going to happen in the pistol, which is the one where you smoke off. So this time Titan are going to try and get the kills on someone like NBK, then put down the bomb and defend for a long time. So we'll see if it's going to work out. Titan now, very classic, completely standard Mirage play coming out here from the terrorist side. And NBK is still alive inside here, happy defending towards connector. Molotov actually to try and force him out here, but they are putting the bomb down in front right now. And is it going to work? Existence makes it happen, but it's still a 3-on-4 here. And now it's not so easy for Titan to defend any longer, though they will take down NBK and a second kill on Smith as well.
Oh, this is so tense, a 2-on-2 situation now, and Kyoshima has been tagged up. He's fairly low. Good after plant positions for Titan as well. One guy up in apartments, and the other holding from pit. Kyoshima's going to dash his way onto the site, but they both get caught instantly at the same time. And even the manager getting into it, Nyak pumping his fist. They know what's on the line here, and that kind of round, especially when LDLC are rolling into it, still had a little bit of time to act. Titan getting it is going to set the pace here. Oh,
it definitely will.
Shoxy, he had enough for a buy. He's going to go for the AWP.
Yeah. So this is...
Whoa.
There's a power play, as we call it, and Apex, got killed right there in the middle. Yeah, this is such a huge risk, a giant risk taken here from LDLC to pick up this one rifle. But if it works, it's certainly will be very impressive. He's down underpass, and he misses the shot. Oh no, they will be able to recover the AWP and try and run away with it here. Smith has it, and does take the next angle, just waiting, so it's still alive.
Yeah, still alive and kicking, and well, Kyoshima attempting with the deagle. We've seen him land some sick 1-digs in the past, but Happy's been picked up. Kenny's going to swap for that CZ75. Smith's getting tagged. The pre-fire coming in from Kenny.
I think that was the aim punch, actually, that ruined that shot from Smith. Now he's so close here, tries the no-scope. Not going to be good enough, Kenny, and he steals it right back. Now he has Shoxy's AWP, and that's going to then give a lot of money to Titan in return here. But it's not quite done yet. It's still a 2-on-3, and they might still... Oh, MBK goes down. If he could have picked up one kill, maybe it could have worked out. Long-range deagle, not this time. Titan just keep on going. And now you gotta really question that buy from Shoxy. He started off so well.
At the end of the day, what really happens there is that he's actually giving Kenny a free op, and that's painful enough. Like, you want Titan to have to spend that money for Kenny to get that rifle, but at the same time, they're going to have enough money to go for a buy in this round, regardless of what happened in the last. So LDLC, they try it. They still manage to make Titan spend some money. They still get some kills. So it's just a matter of Kenny getting that op in the end to save some money on Titan's side. Not the end of the world, I think, is what I'm trying to say here. But LDLC, it looks like they're going to try and change things up. It's going to be Shoxy MP Apartments. And Shoxy with the AWP, he's going to get picked up by Maniacs. Kyoshima's trying to rotate in from short to stop this push coming in. And already there's a guy out on the site, and that's going to catch Kyoshima off guard. Maniac fully committing. Happy is now here. He's looking for the shot, and he gets both. 2 headshots for Happy to shut down that.
Well, a very important play, but there's still a man down here. Shoxy died so quickly, he didn't have any body armor once again here, so that's why it was so easy for Maniac to pick up that first kill on him. And now they're making their way to the A-bomb side. They still got to deal with Smith, who's lurking around the middle here with an M4, but he's got to get this first kill on the guy coming in through the smoke any second now. 50 seconds on the clock, and LDLC got to put a round on the board right now.
Smith is just waiting around this corner right now, playing it very carefully.